If someone asked me what moment in my life made me truly understand my place in my family, I wouldn't have to think twice before answering. The day I realized I was nothing more than an ATM, a milk cow to be drained dry. A shadow lingering on the outskirts of the lives of the very people who brought me into this world. For years I deceived myself into believing that love was measured by actions. I did everything for them, helped my parents pay the mortgage every month, bought groceries, repaired every corner of that old house without a single complaint. I thought that as long as I kept trying, as long as I continued proving my worth, one day they would see me, truly see me. But I was wrong. It was painful to realize that some people only know how to take, without ever thinking of giving back. My name is Victoria. I'm 31 years old, living in Texas. This story isn't about a tragic childhood, or a sudden catastrophe, but rather, a simple, raw truth. I was never a priority in my own family. I have a younger brother, Kyle, 4 years my junior. If I was the one shouldering every burden, Kyle was the one living in luxury without ever having to earn it. Everything I had to work tirelessly for, my brother received effortlessly. He never held a steady job, never worried about money, and never even bought a single pack of instant noodles for our parents. But that didn't matter. To my parents, Kyle was the treasure, and I was merely the means to ensure that treasure never had to suffer. I don't hate my brother, but I despise the way he lives. It all started when I was 25. At that time I had graduated from college, and secured a stable job with enough income to support myself and even save a little. Meanwhile, my parents began struggling financially. They had bought this house when I was a child, and due to high-interest loans, the monthly mortgage had become an increasing burden. I couldn't just turn a blind eye. Back then I thought, they are my parents, it's my responsibility to help them. So I willingly took on part of the mortgage payments each month. Not because they asked me to, but because I believed it was the right thing to do. When my mother said, "Thank you, Victoria. You're such a filial daughter," I felt happy. I believed love could be earned through sacrifice. But once someone gets used to receiving something for free, they begin to see it as an entitlement. Months passed, then years. And I gradually took on more and more. From mortgage payments to groceries, to home repairs, to covering the utility bills. I became the unspoken financial pillar of the family. And Kyle? He had no intention of helping. I remember the one time I brought it up. One evening after a long day at work, I came home to find Kyle sprawled out on the couch, glued to his phone. I blurted out, "Don't you think you should help out a little?" He didn't even look at me, just shrugged. "You make plenty of money. You don't need my help." That was the moment I realized, to him, I was nothing more than a money-printing machine. My parents never reprimanded Kyle for his way of life. On the contrary, they made every excuse for him. When I told my mother that Kyle was 27 and needed to take more responsibility, she only smiled gently. "Every child is different, dear. Kyle just hasn't found his path yet." Hasn't found his path? Or isn't even looking? I scoffed, bitterness rising in my throat. My father was the same. He could watch me work myself to exhaustion every day, yet he always defended Kyle. I once asked him, "Why am I the one carrying everything, yet you never expect Kyle to do anything?" He simply sighed. "You're stronger, you can take care of yourself. But Kyle needs us." That answer cut me like a knife. I was strong, so I didn't deserve help? I was independent, so I didn't need love? As the years passed, I came to realize that I wasn't a daughter, a sister, or a valued member of the family. I was just a lifeline they tossed out whenever they needed it. And the worst part? I let them do it to me for far too long. But everything has a limit. And one day, I reached mine. I had always known that my parents favored Kyle. I knew it from the dinner conversations where they would ask about his day but never about mine. I knew it from the mornings I quietly left for work while Kyle lounged on the couch with a bowl of cereal, unbothered by anything. But I had convinced myself that maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe their love for me was there, just not as obvious as it was for Kyle. I was wrong. It was a Saturday afternoon. I had gone to my parents' house to help my dad with some paperwork. He was never good with anything tech, and whenever there was something involving banks, contracts, or insurance, I was always the one handling it. This time was no different. "What documents do you need scanned?" I asked, skimming through the pile of papers on the table. "Just these. Insurance contracts, the savings account statement, and this one." He placed a thick folder on the table. I didn't think much of it. Just quietly set up the scanner and got to work. But as I flipped through the pages, I saw something that made my entire world collapse. A thick file with bold letters. Estate plan, and last will and testament. I had never been curious about things like this. But something compelled me. A strange intuition crawled down my spine. So, I opened it. And that was when I realized I had never truly been a part of this family. The entire estate, the house, the savings accounts, the small shares in a local company, everything belonged to Kyle. My name was nowhere to be found. Not a single mention of me receiving any portion of the assets. Not a single acknowledgement of the fact that I had carried the financial burden of this house for the past 6 years. No thank you, no recognition. Just one single line about me. "We love both our sons, and hope they will always stay together." I nearly laughed. Was that all I was worth? A vague, meaningless sentence, while my parents' assets had long been divided. And I wasn't included in any of it. My grip on the document tightened until my fingers trembled. My heart pounded in my chest, blood rushing through my veins with a burning heat. Why? I had done everything for them. I was the one who helped them pay off their debts. I was the one who fixed the roof when it leaked. I was the one who drove them to the doctor when they needed care. Kyle had done nothing. Yet he was the one who received everything. Is something wrong? My father's voice came from behind me. I looked up, still clutching the will in my hands, and stared straight at him. "What is this, Dad?" I held up the document. His expression changed instantly, a flicker of panic, then quickly shifting into an annoyed, uncomfortable look. He let out a long sigh, as if I was overreacting to something trivial. "Victoria, you shouldn't be snooping through these things." I let out a cold laugh. Snooping? It was right here on the table. And I have the right to know because I'm the one who helped you keep this house from being foreclosed. My father stayed silent. My throat felt dry. A part of me still wanted to believe this was just a mistake, that there was a logical explanation. But as I looked at his face, I saw the truth. They knew exactly what they were doing. They had planned this for a long time. They never intended for me to have anything. My mother walked into the room, and the moment she saw my face, she immediately understood what had happened. But instead of looking guilty, she simply placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Victoria, you don't need this money." I froze. "What do you mean? You have a good job, you can take care of yourself. But Kyle, he's not stable yet. We just wanted to make sure he wouldn't struggle." Wouldn't struggle. I looked at her, disgust and fury rising in my chest. "And what about me? Am I okay? Do I need anything, or do I just not matter?" My mother frowned slightly, as if she genuinely couldn't understand why I was reacting this way. "Victoria, don't be like this. You've always been strong. You don't need to rely on anyone." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, so because I'm strong, I don't deserve to be acknowledged? Because I'm independent, I have to carry all the responsibilities alone, while Kyle gets to sit back and have everything handed to him?" My mother blinked, as if searching for something to say. But I didn't want to hear it anymore. I slammed the will down on the table, taking a deep breath to suppress the rage boiling inside me. "I see. It's very clear now. At least I finally know my place in this family." No one stopped me as I walked toward the door. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I had truly lost a family that maybe, just maybe, I had never really had. I didn't leave my parents' house immediately. I should have, but a part of me still wanted an explanation. something that would make it all hurt a little less. But instead of an apology, all I got were empty justifications. I stood in the middle of the living room, the same place where I had once run around as a child, done my homework, believed that this was home. But now, it was just a hollow space. My father sat down on the couch, sighing as if I had just put him in an uncomfortable situation he never wanted to deal with. Vidria, it's not what you think. I let out a short, cold laugh. Really? I think I understand perfectly, Dad. Every single asset you own is going to Kyle. I get nothing. Isn't it as simple as that? My father rubbed his forehead, avoiding my eyes. It's complicated. No, it's not complicated at all. I clenched my fists. I've been helping you for 6 years. It wasn't my responsibility. But I did it anyway. Because I thought you valued me. Because I thought I was an important part of this family. My mother remained silent, but her expression said everything. She had known all along, and she felt no guilt. I turned to her. Do you think the same way? Do you also believe I don't deserve anything, just because I take care of myself without needing help? She sighed, as if I were a stubborn child refusing to understand. Victoria, don't make this bigger than it is. You have a good job, you're stable. Kyle? He needs help. That line, again. I gritted my teeth, trying to hold back the rage boiling inside me. I helped you pay the mortgage, cover the bills, buy groceries. I was the one who fixed the leaking roof, the one who took you to the doctor when you needed it. And what did Kyle do? Nothing. But in the end, he's the one who gets everything. My mother looked at me as if she genuinely couldn't understand what my problem was. Kyle isn't as lucky as you, Victoria. He doesn't have a steady job like you do. We just wanted to make sure he wouldn't struggle. I clenched my fists so tightly my nails nearly dug into my skin. Unlucky? Or has he never had to try? He was never forced to grow up, because you've always handed him everything without ever asking for anything in return. My father cut in, his voice sharper. Victoria, don't talk like that. Kyle is your brother. He's family. Family. I let out a small laugh, but there was only bitterness inside me. Then what am I? A debt collector? An outsider? Someone you only remember when you need money? No one answered. I looked at them, the 2 people who gave birth to me, the people I once believed would always protect me. But in the end, I had never truly been a part of them. That realization hurt more than the injustice I was facing. I took a deep breath, then met their eyes. All right then. I understand now. My mother blinked. Victoria, don't say that. No, I shook my head. I don't want to hear it anymore. You've made your choice, haven't you? My father frowned. What do you mean? I shrugged, my voice eerily calm. I'm making my choice too. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and within 10 seconds I canceled every single automatic payment I had set up for them. Mortgage? Gone. Utility bills? They'd have to figure it out themselves. I looked up and saw my mother's face turn pale. Victoria. No, Mom, don't look at me like that. This isn't me punishing you. This is me giving Kyle a chance to prove he deserves everything you've given him. My father shot up from his seat. What are you doing? You can't just abandon us like this. I let out a bitter, cold laugh. Abandon you? Really? I've helped you for years, never complained, never asked for anything in return, but the moment I stop, you call it abandonment? My mother opened her mouth but couldn't find any words. If Kyle deserves everything, then he should also take on the responsibilities that come with it. I have no reason to keep sacrificing for a family that doesn't see me as a part of it. I turned on my heel and walked toward the door, my heart heavy. But I had never felt more certain in my life. This time, I wasn't coming back. I left my parents' house that day with a strange feeling. Not anger, not sorrow, but relief. For the first time in my life, I was free from the burden of responsibility they had placed on me for years. But that didn't mean they would leave me alone. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks without a single call, a single message, or any effort from my parents to apologize. no remorse, no regret. And then, just as I expected, the bills came due. It was a Friday afternoon and I had just finished a long shift when my phone buzzed. A message from my father. "Victoria, the property tax is due, can you take care of it?" I sat down, a bitter smile forming on my lips. Did they really think I would come running back the moment they needed money? I replied simply, "No. Ask Kyle. The house belongs to him, remember?" I put my phone down, thinking that was the end of it, but I should have known better. 10 minutes later, my mother called. I stared at the screen, at the name Mom. A name that once brought warmth, but now felt like a weight I had just lifted off my shoulders. I didn't answer. A text followed immediately. "Victoria, don't do this. Family is about helping each other. Do you know how much we've sacrificed for you? Do you really want us to lose the house?" Ah, now they were worried. When I was paying the mortgage, they never thought about family helping each other. When I was breaking my back to keep a roof over their heads, they never mentioned sacrifice. I responded firmly. "I've helped enough. If you're worried, talk to Kyle. He's the one you chose." A minute passed, then 5, then 10. Then another message, this time from Kyle. "Jesus, you're such a drama queen. You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's just a little money, you can afford it. Why blow this up?" I laughed, unbelievable. This time, I wasn't even angry. I just felt disgusted. I replied instantly, "No, Kyle, I can't." "But you can. You're the one inheriting everything, remember? Didn't you say family is about love, not money? Well, now's your chance to prove it." Silence. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. No reply from Kyle. Of course. Then, another text from my mother. "Victoria, how can you talk to your brother like that? Don't you see how selfish you're being? We raised you, we gave you everything, and now, you're turning your back on us?" I felt a wave of anger rise in me, but this time I didn't let it consume me. I took a deep breath and typed, calmly and deliberately, "No, Mom. I'm not turning my back on the family. You and Dad did that when you decided I wasn't worthy of anything. When you wrote that will, you made your choice, and now, I'm making mine. Kyle can handle it." I set my phone down, feeling a quiet sense of relief. But they didn't stop. 2 days later, I received a transfer request notification from my mother through my banking app. The amount? $3,200. No message, no explanation, just a blatant demand. I almost laughed. They weren't even trying to hide the fact that they saw me as nothing more than a cash machine anymore. I declined immediately. Not even 5 minutes later, my phone rang. "Mom." I didn't answer. A message followed. "Victoria, you know you can't do this. If you don't help, we'll lose the house. Is that what you want?" I waited a few minutes before replying. "It's not my fault. You chose to put everything on Kyle. Let him take care of it." Silence. An hour passed. Then, the final message came. From my father. "Are you really going to let us lose everything? Don't you feel guilty at all?" I sat there, staring at the screen. I felt a deep sadness, but not because I was doing something wrong. I was sad because my parents truly believed it was my duty to fix all their mistakes. I took a deep breath and typed my final response. "No, because I never had anything to lose." I hit send. I was finally free. I thought that was the end of it. That after the ignored messages, the denied money requests, my parents would finally realize I was no longer someone they could exploit. I was wrong. On Saturday morning, I was making coffee in my small apartment when my phone started buzzing non-stop. I glanced at the screen. Mom was calling. I had blocked her number after the last message, but somehow, she had found another way to reach me. I ignored it. A minute later, my phone vibrated again. I sighed, set my coffee down, and checked my messages. "Oh, we're downstairs, open the door." I froze. I rushed to the balcony and looked down. And just as she had said, they were there. My father, my mother, and Kyle. They had actually come to my apartment. I gripped my phone tightly, my breath coming out heavier. I had braced myself for calls, for guilt-tripping texts. But I hadn't expected them to have the audacity to show up unannounced. As I was still processing, my phone rang again. "Mom. Victoria, open the door, we need to talk." I didn't respond. A minute later, another message. "Kyle. What the hell are you doing? It's just a conversation." I scoffed. Just a conversation? If that were true, they wouldn't have ambushed me like this. I took a deep breath and typed my final message. "I have nothing to say, go home." I thought they would give up. But they didn't. Not even 5 minutes later I heard the pounding on my door. Boom, boom, boom. I stood still, my heart pounding. Then, my mother's voice came through the door. "Victoria, I know you're in there. Don't act like this, open the door." They really had no shame. I clenched my fists. No, I won't let them manipulate me, ever again. But the pounding on the door only grew louder. "Victoria, are you really going to do this?" My father's voice was calm but heavy with pressure. Kyle chimed in, his voice clear and frustrated. "Jesus, you're making such a big deal out of this. Just help them a little and everything will be fine, come on." I let out a dry, mocking laugh. I walked toward the door, unlocking it slowly before yanking it open. The three of them stood there, eyes wide, as if they hadn't expected me to actually face them. "Finally, you opened the door." My mother reached out to grab my hand, but I stepped back immediately. "Don't touch me," I said coldly. My father sighed, as if he was exhausted from my so-called stubbornness. "Victoria, there's no need to make this so difficult. You just need to help a little and everything will go back to the way it was." I narrowed my eyes, crossing my arms. "Go back to the way it was? What exactly do you mean? Do you mean I'll keep paying the mortgage, buying groceries, covering the bills, while Kyle sits around doing nothing and reaps all the benefits? No thanks." My father pressed his lips together, but didn't argue. My mother grabbed my hand again, her expression dramatic, as if I had just stabbed her in the heart. "Victoria, you're my daughter. Family shouldn't treat each other this way. Don't you see how cruel you're being?" I pulled my hand away. "No, Mom, I'm not being cruel. I'm just doing what I should have done a long time ago. Setting boundaries." I turned to Kyle, who had been standing silently the entire time. "Do you have anything to say, Kyle? You're the one getting everything. Now's your time to step up." Kyle looked away, avoiding my gaze. "You know I don't have any money." I let out a sharp, mocking laugh. "Oh, so you're perfectly fine with Mom and Dad handing you everything, but when it's time to take responsibility, suddenly you're incapable? You're nothing but a leech." "Don't talk to me like that," Kyle snapped, his face turning red. "Why not? Isn't it the truth?" I turned to my parents, my expression challenging. "You chose Kyle. Now live with that choice. Don't come running back to me when everything falls apart." Silence fell over them. My mother's lips trembled, her eyes beginning to well up with tears. "Victoria, please, we're family." I took a deep breath and spoke slowly, enunciating every word. "No, Mom, we were never truly a family. If you saw me as family, you wouldn't have let me carry everything alone while Kyle did nothing. If Dad saw me as his daughter, he wouldn't have erased me from his life. Now, take care of yourselves." I shut the door right in their faces. This time, I felt no guilt. Only peace. I had thought that after that confrontation at my apartment door, my parents and Kyle would finally understand that I was no longer under their control. I had thought that once that door slammed shut in their faces, they would accept reality. But I had given them far too much credit. Less than 24 hours later, I noticed a storm brewing on social media. That morning, as soon as I woke up, I scrolled through my phone out of habit. Messages from friends started popping up, some of them sending me screenshots, dramatic and utterly fake words. And the one who started it all? My mother. Her Facebook post was dripping with sorrow. "It's heartbreaking to raise a child, only for them to turn their back on you. We have sacrificed everything, given without asking for anything in return, Yet when we needed just a little help, we were abandoned without mercy. Some people, no matter how much they have, will never know gratitude. It's so sad when family is no longer family. I almost laughed. I had supported them for 6 years, covered nearly every major expense, and yet now I was the ungrateful one? I scrolled down to the comments. Old acquaintances, neighbors, distant relatives, all rushing in to comfort her. "You are such a wonderful mother, don't be sad. Kids can be so heartless sometimes. Some people only care about money and forget the true value of family. Children should take care of their parents as they get older. It's truly disappointing when some don't understand that." I gritted my teeth but forced myself to stay calm. They didn't know the real story. They only saw the version my parents painted. A picture where I was the betrayer, and they were the helpless victims. But the performance wasn't over yet. My father joined in. Less than an hour after my mother's post, he added his own cryptic status. "Family is everything. As you grow older, you expect your children to stand by your side, to take care of you, to protect you. But sometimes, the ones you love the most are the ones who disappoint you the deepest. We've done everything we could, but maybe that was never enough. Hopefully one day, someone will realize that money can never replace family." At that moment, I really wanted to throw my phone at the wall. We've done everything we could? What exactly had they done? Besides dumping all the responsibility on me while Kyle never lifted a finger. I scrolled further, and this time, the comments were harsher. Did Victoria really abandon her parents? Unbelievable. They raised her for years and now that they need help she turns her back? Society today is terrifying. Someone needs to rethink the meaning of family. I exhaled sharply, trying to keep my growing anger in check. But the one who truly made my blood boil was Kyle. An hour later, he posted his own melodramatic message. "I will always do everything I can for my parents. I don't need much. Just for them to be happy. Family is the most important thing to me. It's just a shame that not everyone understands that." And as if that wasn't dramatic enough, he attached a photo of himself with my parents, all three of them smiling like the perfect happy family. I nearly exploded. Kyle? The guy who had never worked a single day in his life, never paid a cent for our parents, never had to worry about anything? And now he was pretending to be the devoted son? The comments under his post piled up. "Kyle, you are such a wonderful son. You are truly admirable. I hope some people can learn from you. Everyone needs a son like Kyle. Some people are just so selfish." I covered my mouth, letting out a bitter laugh. Did they really think I would let them fabricate this false narrative without doing anything? I was never the type to air personal matters on social media, but if they wanted to twist the truth, then I would bring the truth to light. I picked up my phone, opened Facebook, and started typing. I've stayed silent for a long time, but it seems some people believe they can create their own version of the story without anyone calling them out, so let me set the record straight. For the past 6 years, I have been the one paying the mortgage on my parents' house. I have covered the bills, bought groceries, and repaired every little thing in that house. I did all of this, without asking for anything in return. Meanwhile, Kyle, the one my parents left everything to, has never worked a single day in his life. He contributed nothing, yet he is the one inheriting it all. When I decided to stop being used, they turned around and called me a traitor. When I refused to keep being their walking wallet, they started smearing me on social media. If anyone wants to know the truth, here it is. And if Kyle truly is the devoted son he claims to be, then now is his chance to prove it, by taking care of our parents, without relying on me. I hit post, set my phone down, and leaned back in my chair. I didn't have to wait long, the response was almost immediate. Within 15 minutes, messages started flooding in. Friends, coworkers, distant relatives, people who supported me. "Victoria, I had no idea this was happening. You've put up with so much, you are absolutely right to walk away. I used to think you were ungrateful, but now I understand. This is so unfair. They treated you like this and still expected you to keep helping? Who do they think you are? I kept scrolling, feeling lighter with every message. But then came the ones I had been expecting. Kyle messaged first. Did you really do this? You're such a traitor. Does family mean nothing to you? I didn't reply immediately. I let him sit with it. Then, when I did respond, it was just one sentence. How about you start taking care of mom and dad instead of playing the victim online? No response. My father called next. I watched my phone vibrate, knowing exactly what his furious voice would sound like on the other end. I didn't pick up. Then, just as expected, a text came through. Victoria, you will regret this. You have destroyed this family. I hope one day you realize your mistake. I exhaled slowly, no longer feeling hurt. I sent my final response. No, you and mom destroyed this family a long time ago. I was just the last one to accept it. Then, I blocked his number. My mother wasn't silent either. She sent me a picture of the house. The house I had kept afloat for 6 years. Below it, a long message. Victoria, do you really want to see us lose our home? This is where you grew up. This is your family. How can you be so heartless? I closed my eyes, feeling a small pang of bitterness. But not enough to change my decision. I responded short and firm. I did everything I could. But you and Dad chose Kyle, not me. Let him prove he was the right choice. I set my phone down, locked the screen and stood up, taking a deep breath. I was done with them. For too long I had been used. I had been treated as an outsider in my own family. But now, I was finally starting a new life. One without them. And I had no regrets. Victoria's story is not just a personal tragedy. It's a harsh reflection of financial favoritism and exploitation within families. Many people believe that family ties automatically come with unconditional responsibility, but the truth is, family should never be built on one-sided sacrifice. Victoria spent years supporting her parents, only to be betrayed and treated like an ATM. Her story serves as a wake-up call. Don't let emotional guilt trap you in toxic relationships. Sometimes, cutting ties is the only way to reclaim yourself. What do you think about Victoria's decision? Was she too harsh, or was this the right move to protect herself? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to follow the channel for more real-life stories about family and life.